Hey, beautiful souls. You're tuned into the Bitter to Beautiful podcast.
Where we get real about life, love, faith, and everything in between.
We talk healing, growth, and the messy stuff nobody else wants to touch.
But it's always with a little laughter, a lot of honesty, and the hope of God's word. Because bitter is not better.
Beautiful is possible. Let's get started.
Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the finale of season 3 of the Bitter to Beautiful podcast. Whew, it has been a journey, hasn't it? We've talked about feeling single in marriage, triggers, unmet expectations, and hidden pains. But today, we're closing out with hope. How do you rebuild when bitterness has taken root in your relationship and God still calls you to stay? Today's episode is From Resentment to Renewal, starting over with the same person. Coach Lynette?
That's so good, Coach Charmin, because sometimes the assignment is not to leave, it's to let God do a new thing right where you are. And renewal doesn't mean going back to how things were, but choosing to rediscover love, trust, and intimacy in a deeper and Christ-centered way. So let's review our focus scriptures for this episode. And the first is Isaiah 43:19. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. This scripture is a promise that God can bring fresh life where things seem barren, even in strained marriages. And then Joel 2:25. The Lord says, I will give you back, hallelujah, what you lost. God specializes in restoration, turning what's broken into something beautiful again.
Wow. See, the part that I was stuck at was God doing a new thing when you're staying right where you're at. I'm paraphrasing that, but that's a new thing when you're staying right where you're at. And the scripture for that, Isaiah 43:19, is on point. So let's go over the discussion questions. Let's have some conversations. To you, Lynette, can you share a time when you and your partner had to start over, emotionally and spiritually? What did that process look like?
Well, this is a process that I recently went through. And it was emotionally and spiritually and physically, just all the above. I believe that I mentioned in maybe seasons before that I was separated. My husband and I were separated in our marriage. And it was because there was an emotional and a spiritual drought, amongst other things. And so, going through trying to release myself from bitterness and be beautiful, I had to really spend time with the Lord. And I could have talked about my husband all I want, but there was one day when God asked me, well, what about you? And so my prayers changed, and I said, okay, Lord, expose me to me. And I would say, be careful what you ask for, because he showed me the bitterness that was in my heart. He showed me the root of where it started. He showed me where I allowed resentment or hurt or anger to come in and allow it to be deep-seated to the point where I pretty much quit. I said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. It was just dead. It was dead. I didn't feel anything emotionally. I didn't feel we were spiritually connected. And it literally just died. And so throughout the years, God has allowed me to go through a healing, as He allowed me to get to the root of a number of things that led to that, not only in my marriage, but things that showed up in other relationships as well. I had to go through the process of healing. And it was not cute. It was ugly. It was ugly. And but I had to go through it in order to heal, so that I didn't repeat the same mistakes, whether I went on, move forward with someone else, dissolve my marriage, or whatever the end of the whatever the final decision would be. But I understood that God had the final say. One day I said, I'm done. We're getting divorced. I'm getting a consultation. And we're going to make it happen, because there's no way. And then God sent me friends when I told them, okay, we're going to get a divorce. And one thing that they kept asking me, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do that? Or they asked, did you file yet? And there was always, when I was ready to file for a divorce, there was interference. Either I didn't have the funds to do it, or I couldn't contact the place, or it just did not happen. Until one day, the Lord showed me a dream, and He showed a reconciliation between my husband and I. And I was like, what? I was very far removed from our marriage. And, then we start getting into communities. Then we start Better to Beautiful. And here we are rehearsing, the anger, the hurt, the resentment, the bitterness. And as God, as we were doing this process, pricked at my heart. I was healing in other areas with friendships and with other people and relationships. But my marriage was the thing that was outstanding. And I just said, Lord, I give him to you. I give myself to you. I give my marriage to you. And maybe a year ago, I said, okay, Lord, I see what you're showing me. And I'm going to just let him know I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust you. It's not my will, but yours. And I'm going to be obedient. I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to tell him, let's work on it. Well, I was ready, but he wasn't. He was not ready. And so a number of things happened. And then later found out that he moved on. He moved on. But we were still married. And when I found out, I questioned him and I said, are you sure you want to do this? Because even though we're separated, in the eyes of God, this is not right. So I was concerned about his soul. And so I said, okay, God, what do you want me to do? And I remember crying my eyes out when I found out, because I found out abruptly. I had literally no clue that it was happening. Even after I said, let's try to work it out. And it just went from there. I continued to pray. I continued to seek God for myself. I started praying for him. I got the power of a praying wife. And I started praying daily for him. And lo and behold, we had another conversation later on in the year. And then I said, you know how I feel? You know what my choice is? Now I'm going to let you sit with it and you get back to me. Well, he got back to me. And my marriage is now restored. And I think, oh gosh, I think I was going to cry. But this is real, y'all. I thank God. I thank God because it was not in my own strength. I did not change my feelings. God did. because I wanted to yield to him. And in spite what people thought, in spite of what people may have seen, he took us both through a process. And so, even after restoring and we're sharing things that happened, he was taking both of us on a journey to heal and rediscover ourselves. So it didn't start back perfect because there was a lot of conversations that had to happen. But I can say that God did it. God did it. It wasn't my will. It was his will. And I was just obedient. I waited. I was patient. He worked on my attitude and my demeanor and, my responses. He worked on me because sometimes regardless of what examples we have, we're not always taught what to do in a marriage and how to act in a marriage. And, people say things all the time, but you're saying it and not teaching it. And the Holy Spirit had to teach us. And so I'm grateful. It was not a great process when we were restored. There were some kinks still in there. And we had to meet each other all over again. We had to meet each other where we were and relearn one another, how we think, how we talk. And it has been great, and it has been God. So I would even say, if you're experiencing this right now, seek God and tell him what you're supposed to do, because I believe that even though you may feel you need a divorce, if God brought it together, just continue to seek him and he will work it out. And not in your time, because this was 3 or 4 years. Not in your time, because sometimes there's something that he needs to work out in you. And I'm not advocating for divorce and separation, but sometimes he'll separate you. He'll separate you, and the work needs to be done. I was married very young, and so we literally grew up together. Our joke is we knew each other more than half of our lives. Mm-hmm. And so we grow and we change, but you have to be willing to go through the process to see the other side. If you don't go through, how would you know what's on the other side? Sometimes you can't see it, but if you have faith and you trust God, it will happen. Whew. What about you, Coach Charmaine?
Wow, Lynette, I'm not going to cry, but so if I can just recap one of the things because you said so many things that was so very important. One of the things that I do when I'm teaching the weight of her yes with in my group coach experience, we talk about completely surrendering to God. And I think sometimes we get stuck with what that means. It doesn't mean that you're weak, because immediately in your head you're like, completely surrender to God. What does that mean? It doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean that you're giving up. It doesn't mean that you're saying to the person who may have hurt you or put you in a space, in a place that you're like, yeah, whatever. You're not saying that. And it doesn't mean that you're becoming passive. Surrender just merely means, and it could be for big for some and small for some, it means laying down your will and completely trusting the Lord. It's not about trusting the person who's committed an act, whether they did or not. It's not about trusting you. It's about releasing the control to want to manage the thing, carry the weight that you shouldn't be carrying because God hasn't called you. It's about truly surrendering to God, not negotiating with God. I'll do better. No, truly surrendering to God. So I want everybody who's listening to that. One of the things, because there were so many things that Coach Lynette said that were very important. One of the most important out of them all was surrendering to the Lord, because sometimes we believe that we can carry the weight. We can fix him. We can fix her. It's our job because we said yes. Because we said yes to that covenant. It's our job. We should No. God doesn't give you projects. He gives you purpose.
That's
He
right.
gives you purpose. And once we realize that, because at the end of the day, the other person gets to choose. They get to choose too.
That's
They
right.
may,
It's a
you may not
choice.
like what they choose.
Mm-hmm.
Because you heard Coach Lynette, initially she was good. Like God was working on her and he was like, I ain't ready yet. Do you get mad and frustrated and say, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore? No, what you do is you get on your knees or you sit in your quiet time and you keep praying. If covenant was so easy, and one of the things they say is the hardest covenant to break is a covenant with the Lord. Am I wrong, Lynette? I could be wrong.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
But which means it's going to be, if it's hard to break, then it shouldn't be so easy to give up and be like, you know what, I want to give up. I don't want to do this. I'm done. No. Pray. Trust God. So, and although my situation is different from Lynette's, but similar in so many different ways, there was a season when my husband and I were under the same roof, but not on the same rhythm. He was going and I was doing, and we weren't on the same roof. We were functioning, we were parenting, we were handling all the responsibilities together, paying the bill, paying the rent, but emotionally and spiritually, we were off. And I don't want to, because this is not a season of me to bash my husband. I will not do that anymore. I did it at one point because I always felt that I was a spiritual one. And I don't think it had anything to do with that. I just think that because of who I am and because who God has made me to be, I just listen in a different way than he does. Mm-hmm. So, but even in that, God had to show me, because you know how sometimes you get prideful because I know scripture. Yeah. Listen.
Heavenly minded.
Exactly. So we weren't really fighting each other. We were just disconnected. It was a quiet distance. Sometimes it was louder. Sometimes it was quiet. It was a weird space to be in. It didn't start dramatic. It wasn't like a movie moment reset. It wasn't it was just completely, like Lynette, surrendering to God and I literally had to go through the process. And when I tell you, it's a process of going back to the time. And I may have not shared this on this podcast before, because I just recently realized that I was rejected in the womb. Immediately, my father, he had kids by somebody else. At the same time, my mom was pregnant with me and he rejected me in the womb. So I lived my life in abandonment and rejection. And because of that, I overfunctioned. I was overly doing everything. I was overly functioning. I always was trying to be the one that cared, to fix, to show, overworked. It was just me. And I lived like that. So when I started with my marriage, I wanted him, and this is actually my second marriage, I really wanted him to be my savior. So I put him, he became my idol. And that was uncomfortable, and that was an issue. Because when you make people your idol, Selah, I don't even have to say anything more to that. So what I learned is that starting over doesn't mean you failed. Like, I needed to, God showed me, and as I healed, I understood what he wanted me to do in my relationship when it came to my husband. And I shared this with Lynette when me and Wallace was going through what we was going through. I was mad. I was feeling some type of way because God was like, keep loving him. I'm like, what? But I had to do what God told me to do. I couldn't do what everybody else was telling me to do. Mm-hmm. I had to focus on doing what God called me to do. I had to stop being so busy. I had to stop trying to manage everything. I had to stop over-functioning. I had to stop reacting in frustration. And every time there was an issue, it became a trigger. I had to stop and just be still enough to just hear from God. God, sometimes we when we get married, we in our heads. So in my head, when I got married, because I've always wanted to be married, because it was just something that I saw my mom, my dad, my stepdad, they took care of us in a relationship for years. And I figured that was always something that I wanted to do. But I never asked the question, like, what does it look like? What does it feel like? What do I do? And when you are living in a state of abandonment and rejection, you're going to overdo everything. And that's exactly what I did. But I had to realize that my walk was my walk and I needed to trust God. And it took some time for me to, one, forgive because there was a infidelity. It took some time for me, one, to heal because I needed to trust again. And I think the hardest part for me was to be vulnerable again, because now I had to let down that wall. I needed to protect me. I needed to be in control of protecting me. And that was the hardest thing I had to do. And when you are trusting God, and somebody else can give you a different response, but for me, when you are trusting God completely, that's vulnerable, because that means I got to say yes to being okay if this happens again. But was I really saying yes? I was just completely trusting God, and that's where I was. And today I can honestly say, we didn't just rebuild our marriage. We renewed it. Like, it's not perfect. We're in a space where sometimes I still want to, it looks very interesting. I'm not going to say anything mean. It looks very interesting. But what I feel like is, because I've healed, I'm a better me. I'm not a defensive me, because I used to be very defensive. I cut you down in 2.5 seconds and don't even care, walk away and be good. But no problem. But that's not me today. And if someone is listening right now feeling disconnected, hear me clearly. Renewal is possible, but it requires stillness, surrender, and being honest before God. You can't try to control the situation, because it's not going to work. I'm telling you right now, because they get to make decisions too. And sometimes you may not like how they respond. And I don't honestly think, and y'all can come for me if you want, I don't honestly think that when you say I do to someone in a covenant with God, I don't think it should be that easy just to say I'm going to walk away, unless you're getting abused, but that's a whole different scenario. I'm talking about in what would naturally be a healthy relationship. Is just that y'all are struggling in some areas. Y'all are a little disconnected, or maybe a lot disconnected. I think that when you trust God, He can help you. He can help you. You can start all over again with the same person. And it isn't weakness, it's maturity. I think some people should try, instead of, quick to write that divorce. That divorces are expensive for a lot, but I'm not coming for divorce. I'm saying, just so, Lynette, what fears hold people back from trying again after resentment has built? What do you think? What do you think of the fears that hold people back after resentment has built walls? What do you think some of the fears are?
Well, resentment usually comes in when you've been hurt, or disappointed in a way, and you end up building a wall. And the wall is not for other people, the wall is for you, to protect you. Some would say that that's guarding your heart and your mind. But I learned about emotional intelligence in, let me see, maybe 2012 is when it first started coming up. And when you have resentment and you don't deal with it, you don't talk it out or heal from it, you end up building a wall. And that wall cages you in. You have a heart and you have emotions for a reason, right? Does it mean that you allow people to hurt you in the same way over and over again? No, because you're human and you are allowed to build boundaries for yourself so that people don't come and hurt you again. But if you are just building a wall and you're not speaking up and saying, listen, when you did this, you hurt me. You hurt my feelings. I saw you hurt someone else's feelings. This is something that I want to make you aware of that happened to me. And we're afraid to have these conversations. We're afraid to have these conversations. The Bible tells us that if you have an ought with your brother or your sister, and that can be your husband or your wife too, right? That you're supposed to go to them, right? And if not, they don't want to hear you, bring in an elder. And if not, you go before the church. But we don't handle things like that. We're going to move on because we don't want to cause waves. We don't want to cause any trouble. We don't want to get hurt again. But if somebody hurt you, they're probably hurting other people too. and they'll continue to hurt you, right? So sometimes, and I would say even in marriage, I see a lot of couples that are not honest with each other.
Mm-hmm.
They just learn to deal with it. But when you just learn to deal with it or just sweep it under the rug, guess what? You end up getting a pile under the rug and you're going to trip over it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you build that wall of resentment, you're not being honest with yourself. And maybe you can't identify your feelings. And for my children, one thing that I discovered, there's a feelings wheel. You can Google it and it breaks down the feelings. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you angry? Are you afraid? I think are the four main points. And then it breaks it down into three other minor categories so that you can learn what it is that you're feeling. Sometimes we can't, even as adults, we can't identify what we're feeling, and so we can't speak on what we can identify. And so it's important that we identify what we're feeling so that we can communicate to someone that hurt us and not just sit in silence and build resentment, which later turns into anger. So resentment, I think people hold back and they build it and they build a wall within themselves. That's not guarding your heart. Guarding your heart is, listen, you hurt me when you did this and that. I'm asking you not to do it again. If you have a repeat offender, then you can choose, okay, if you continue to do this, this is going to be my response. And your response could be, let me end this relationship because I don't like you anymore. Just kidding. I had to put that in there. But maybe, you realize that this relationship is just not serving you anymore. But I would also caution you to make sure that you're not the one that's supposed to be influencing the person, because you might want to stay and help them out. They may need your voice, they may need your experience to help them work whatever this is out. So as far as marriage is concerned, I think it's very important that we communicate with one another and be heard and also hear as well. When you're in the marriage, you have to hear, and sometimes you have to listen to what's not being said. You need to pray and ask God to train your ear to, okay, what is my spouse really saying right now? Am I really getting it? And you may not get it in the moment or the time, especially when you're new and you're getting to know each other, or you shifted in your marriage. It's important that you build that. One thing after my husband and I restored our marriage is we said, okay, these are the words we're going to say if a conversation is going too far. And I probably mentioned in a previous episode, maybe not, that if we feel that things may be getting too heated, one of us are going to start whispering. Why? Because it's silly. And instead of allowing a disagreement to turn into a full-blown argument where people are yelling or getting disrespectful, we said, one of us is going to whisper. Why? It's going to throw us off. Mm-hmm. It's going to throw us off and say, okay, let's either calm down or just take a break or whatever it is that you need to do. But you have to be able to communicate with your spouse. And if your spouse is not one that communicates, then you work on that. Go to marriage counseling. Hang out with other couples as well and learn to build. You have to communicate because, sometimes the wife is looked upon as the one who talks more. It's not always the case, right? But it's important that even though the wife may be talking more, that the husband also hears and listens to what she's saying and understands it and moves accordingly, because the husband is supposed to love the wife as Christ loved the church. How did he love the church? The husband's job is to go find out. Mm-hmm. Find out. Get in your word and figure out how he loved the church. But then the wife is supposed to respect and honor her husband. And so I think that's where a lot of marriages go lost. You think you're communicating, but you're really not. And a lot of feelings are not communicated, or they are, and they're ignored. But as far as what holds people back, I think it's being heard again. I think it's um, reliving that experience. But just like the word insanity, if you think you're going to get a different result by trying the same thing over and over again, it's time for you to try another method. That may include bringing a third party in to say, okay, help us work this out because we got to move past this. And, you know, just as you grow in age, your marriage also grows in age, which is something that I learned. So you may be in your newlywed stage. Just think about a child in the age at the ages of 1 through 5 and what they're going through. If you're in the school age stage or the adolescent stage, you know what a lot of married couples don't know is that year 7 is tough for a lot of marriages. So if you can go into year 8 and new beginnings, you did something and you should applaud yourself if you're past that, right? But then there's more years that will come that will test and try you and your marriage. So it's important that you build that communication even before you get married, to make sure that you can share things and be honest. One thing, my husband and I are going to be very transparent with one another. We're going to get the message across, but we don't have to hurt each other to get the message across. We don't have to harm each other or say hurtful things or hurt. And granted, sometimes the truth hurts, but you got to remember that you're supposed to love your spouse. I'm going to pass that on to you, Coach Charmaine.
Pass that piece on. It's okay. It's okay. That's good. That's really good, Coach Lynette. That's really, really good. What I heard basically is that you definitely have to communicate. Communication is the key. And sometimes we don't like having those hard conversations. Because I know that was me. I was like, I just better just not say anything. Then I don't got to argue. I just don't feel like arguing. But sometimes it's necessary because we like to believe that we can think for our spouses, that we know exactly how they're feeling and exactly what they're thinking. And sometimes it don't even be the case. And we're very off. So it's very necessary and very important for you to communicate and, again, have those hard conversations. And yes, the biggest fear that I find is, what if nothing's changed? What if nothing's going to change? Like, after resentment has built walls, you're not just tired, you're guarded, of course. And the same thing, like with Coach Lynette said, your heart is guarded. You're thinking it's already over. I've given up. I'm tired. I've already been stretched. I know you're just exhausted. But you have to sit in a place where you allow the truth and you allow vulnerability after disappointment. I know it feels dangerous, but sometimes it's necessary for you to pull those walls down. Actually, it's necessary because when you trust in God, you should pull walls down. You should allow God to do the healing, because once He heals, then you'll understand that everything happens for a reason. And I'm not saying that there is a reason why we go through, betrayal and it hurts and pains and all these different things. I'm saying everything happens for a reason. Sorry about that. So when walls go up and when walls go up, they feel safe. You tell yourself, at least I won't be hurt again. But the hard truth is, walls may keep the pain out, but also block the love from getting in. So if you have a wall, how are you conversating? How are you talking? How are you showing up? As someone who's experienced rejection and abandonment, as I've said before, early on in life, I didn't just fear certain moments. I feared history repeating itself. And that was one of the things. When in my first marriage, there was a lot of betrayal. And in my second marriage, I felt when I had the conversation, I would have a problem with the betrayal, but apparently that wasn't it. And so every time in my head, anything that triggered me, it made me feel wounded. It made me feel as if the wounds was my security blanket, and it shaped how I moved, how I functioned, how I protected myself. So my real fear wasn't that, it wasn't just that, having to protect myself from the pain that was going to come. It was just that I just wanted to not have to worry about that. I wanted to not have to worry about being abandoned or being rejected. And when I tell you, fear will cripple you. Fear will cripple you. It will make you hesitate in decisions that you make. It will hold you back. It will keep you stuck. You can't move forward. And God doesn't give us the spirit of fear. He doesn't give us a spirit of fear. So if you're sitting in a place right now where you feel like you've been hurt and you're in pain, and you feel like you can't move past it. And right now I'm speaking to a woman who's married in this space. Again, as we said earlier, trust God. Trust God. For me, one of the first steps towards healing was saying yes to the process, because sometimes we don't want to go through the process. And I remember having a conversation with Lynette, Coach Lynette, saying, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Do you remember those conversations? You were like, Sharma, you got to trust the process. You got to go through the process. You just got to go through the process. You're trying to avoid the process. I was like, I don't want to do this. Listen, you have to say yes to the process, yes to the therapy, yes to praying, yes to the hard conversations, and yes to facing what you buried. You got to unbury it, because your healing needs a yes. And I'm telling you, once you say yes, it would allow God to heal you in the places where you felt rejected, where you felt desperate, where you felt overwhelmed. And I tell you, it feels like freedom. So saying yes is key. Saying yes to the process, going through it, trusting God. He got you. He got you. Coach Lynette.
I'm trying to look some stuff up, but my technology is acting up on me. But anyway, there's a number of things that would lead to resentment and fears holding you back. Turn it over to Jesus. Turn your fears over to the Lord. If He told you who your husband is, and He told you to do the work to restore, don't let your fears override what God told you to do, and be mindful about building resentment. I would say that my resentment started when I kept repeating the same things over and over again, and I was not heard. And so it's important that spouses learn to hear and also get understanding with one another. Also understand that you two are not the same. You may act alike in some ways, but you're not the same. So you also have to accept each other's differences and similarities in the same way. So once you feel that resentment creeping in, this is why it's important to pray together. This is why it's important to have your own relationship with the Lord as well. Prayer definitely does change things, and it unites people outside of the horizontal polka. It unites people in a way that is just as deep. And so prayer matters, and just put your fears to the side and get to the root of where those fears are coming from, because it may not be with your spouse and they're paying for it, you know. So if it's from your daddy issues or issues with the men in your life, then let's deal with those things so it does not affect your marriage. And to those that are not yet married and you're listening to that, begin to deal with those things that you saw growing up in the relationships that were modeled for you, and think about what it is that you want and bring it to the Lord and keep it in prayer. I've seen people live differently than how they grew up. It is possible. With God, all things are possible. You just have to be willing to move forward. So here's another relatable scenario. Imagine this. You and your spouse have been in survival mode for years. Bills paid, kids raised, church attended, but no real connection. Every conversation feels like business. Every hug feels mechanical. You're on autopilot. And resentment built up from old wounds, and it's easier to coexist than to reconnect. But deep down, you long for renewal. You're longing for it. You're longing for laughter, prayer, and passion to return. It is so important that when you feel things start getting mechanical, put on something nice, put on some smell goods, go out, go even for a walk. And everything does not have to cost money. Walks are intimate. Walks in the rain are intimate. Working out together, there's so much that you can do. Watching a movie together, doing things that you both enjoy, being silly. Let's not be so heavily minded that we're not earthly good. Be silly and laugh with your spouse. It's okay. It's okay. Learn their love language and be relatable with your spouse. When you can see and feel when things become mechanical. That's one thing that I never liked in my marriage. I don't want to walk in and say, "Oh, how was your day? How was your day? How was your?" I'm not built like that. So even though I may ask the same question, I'm going to ask it differently, and I'm not going to ask it at 6:01 when I come to the door. I'm going to wait, and we forget about the element of surprise. Men are visual, right? Their senses work in many different ways. What are we doing to do that? And sometimes there's this back and forth. Well, they're not doing it, so I'm not going to do it. Well, somebody has to do it. Somebody has to do it. And you learn what they like and you do that. Men are creatures of habit a lot of times, and some women are as well. Just learn your spouse and grow together. Being mechanical is a sign that something needs to shift. So I am a creature of habit, but I like spontaneity once in a while. I have enough spontaneity around me between my friends and my husband. But I do like structure. But I've learned not to be so tightly wound that I get to enjoy life. And if you find yourself tightly wound up, loosen up just a little bit and enjoy time with your spouse and your friends as well. Coach Sherman.
That's good. That's really good, Lynette, because so much. Get some lingerie. Okay, no.
Yes, girl.
Get some lingerie. Can I just honestly say that at some point I didn't know that I was in survival mode. I didn't even know it. I just this is how I've always been. And I didn't understand what survival mode looks like. So let me just really quick break that down. Survival mode is when you're moving, but you're not healed. You're smiling, but you're still bleeding. You're serving, but you're secretly exhausted. You never fall apart. You never ask for help. You just handle it because you're the strong one. You pray for everybody else, but you haven't cried out yourself and much for yourself. Survival mode looks like overworking to avoid feelings. You stay busy. That was me. You build, you produce, you achieve. But the moment it gets quiet, the pain shows up. If stillness makes you uncomfortable because a lot can't be still.
That's right.
That's a clue. Survival hates silence because healing lives there. Healing lives there. So if you're struggling and you don't understand what survival mode is, because I didn't clearly understand it and I was functioning in it for most of my life, hopefully you got an understanding as I just mentioned that. So here's how to break the silence. Name what's been lost. Acknowledge where resentment stole connection. Apologize and forgive. Even small apologies open doors for bigger healing. Sometimes you can't. Okay, I'm going to digress for a second. We always want to be right. It's okay not to be right. It's okay to let him win it. It's okay. But you know what? It's frustrating, but it's still okay. I'm just saying.
And it's okay to agree to disagree.
Yes, it's okay. You got this. It's cool. You know what? We're not. It's fine. It's cool. Don't then listen. Oh no, I'm not gonna say that because you probably do it. Agree to disagree, but then all of a sudden you ain't giving them none. That's a whole nother.
Oh, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Remember, you love them.
Yes. Recommit out loud. Say, I want us to start fresh and set small goals for connection. Practical tips. That's on you, Coach Lynette.
All right, so we have some practical tips. Try weekly vision dates, not just dinner, but talking about dreams and prayers. One of the things that my husband and I have done to reconnect is to have conversations. What if? What would you like? What do you dream of? What? Because we were reconnecting, and because we were separated, we had to relearn each other once again. This is a different way of building intimacy, right? It's not just, again, the horizontal polka. It is having those conversations. It could include touching, but it could include cooking together, learning his favorite meal, things that he likes to do, knowing when they may need time alone, drawing them a bath, just listening to what's not being said. If you see, discomfort on their body, the shoulders are always sore, get some Epsom salt, draw the man a bath, do what you need to do. But there's so many things outside of having sexual relations that you can do in your marriage to continue to bring that spark up. I used to leave sticky notes everywhere, or I would send a text message to encourage him. I had to learn his love language because one of them honestly got on my nerves. Words of affirmation. I'm an oldest child, he's an only boy, and so the things that he did not receive, he expected to get from me because I gave them without him asking me before. But I got comfortable, and then I wasn't giving it. Then he was demanding it, and it was like, I'm forced to do it. I don't like to be forced. Let me just get it out naturally. But now I'm learning naturally from my heart to give him what he needs. And we have to be able to do that. So it's not just paying for an expensive dinner or getting gifts. You learn their love language, because getting gifts could be just the thought of it. Mm-hmm. Just the thought of, oh, you heard me talking about, I'm not a flowers girl, but you heard me talking about these red flowers and you got them for me. Oh my goodness. Like, you teach each other to listen to one another. We watch movies on Fridays, and we'll just relax, or he'll get dinner or I'll get dinner. We'll cook. There are days when I come home and he cooked, and I thank God. I thank God. I thank God, because it's something that I've asked for years. Like, I worked long hours, and at the time my job was stressful. There are things that you can do. So have the weekly vision dates. You can plan out your dates. Plan them out. Whether it's brunch, I love going to diners. I do. If you don't have to spend that much, we've been going on walks, we do different things. Just try something different. Try something new. They have different things for couples out there. Museums, learn how to cook together. There are cheap vacations. Go and find them. Google, ChatGPT, whatever you need. Then there's apps. There's Evernote or Shared Notes for journaling gratitude toward each other. And there's another one called, in talking about the 5 love languages, there's an app called the Love Nudge, where both you and your husband get it, and you fill each other's tank with their love language. And it literally shows you how much you're filling your partner, your husband, or each other's love language. And it's good so that you can see it. There are apps out there to help you. And then there's the book, The 5 Love Languages, along with the quiz. You just Google it, The 5 Love Languages, and both of you take it. They have it for children too, so you can know what your children's love languages are. Create a renewal ritual, nightly prayer, morning hugs, or a 15-minute walk together. Our church, every Valentine's Day, has the couples who want to join and renew their vows. All of the years we've been married, we were never able to do it for whatever reason. This year, actually 2 weeks ago, we partook in the renewal, and we were given an agreement that we both had to sign, and said, this is what we're going to do in our marriage. We do not speak of divorce. We're going to pray with each other daily. We're going to speak in love to one another. And it lists a whole bunch of things that we are committing to do, right? And you may not be there yet, but at least these are the things that'll keep you in check, right? And keep you in line. So I'm grateful that we were able to do it after all of these years. So we also have a biblical example, and this is becoming one of my favorite Bible stories with Hosea and his wife Gomer. Hosea was basically told to marry a prostitute. Isn't that something? It's in the word. Go read it. It's in Hosea. So it's love restored. God commanded Hosea to love Gomer again, even after betrayal. You marry a prostitute, you know what comes with it, right? She was still a prostitute, right? And of course, you feel betrayed because you figure you're married now and the job is going to stop, but it did not, right? There's a symbol of renewal. The story represents God's faithful love, teaching us that relationships can be restored when anchored in divine grace. And the takeaway, renewal isn't about ignoring the past. We had to deal with the past. We had to deal with the past in order to move forward. There was no not dealing with it. We lifted that rug up and dealt with everything that was underneath the rug, with tears, with discomfort, and everything. It's necessary. You cannot hide from it. It's there. You got to deal with it. You have to. It's about choosing love and choosing faithfulness despite it, despite what happened to you. It's about choosing love. I was telling a friend the other day, I've always appreciated the wives who got their husbands to do things for them, not out of manipulation, but out of using wisdom, learning how to communicate effectively with their husband. And I said, Lord, I want to be that. I am becoming that. Because that's what I prayed for, because I want to be that wise wife that does not nag her husband, that does not say things that are mean because they're in their feelings or manipulate. I never wanted to be that. And so the people that I've had that were examples of that, you know, I drew from them, and I am becoming her.
Praise God. Yes, that is good. One of the things that stuck out to me, what you said, Lynette, is you have to deal with the past. You have to deal with
Absolutely.
the root of things. It cannot be surface, because what happens if you don't deal with the root, it recurs, it comes back, it shows up again, and you're not healed. And then you're back so anything can trigger you, anything can make you feel some type of way. You have to deal with the past, the root of the things. I had to go back and speak to Charmin, Charman, because she had been hurt and she felt rejected and she was in pain, and she showed up like that in everything that she did. So I had to go back and have a conversation with her and tell her that you're okay, that God loves you, that God is even here, even in that, what your experience. You gotta deal with that, because if you don't, you are likely going to try to do everything that comes with the feeling of rejection, the feeling of pain. You want to be in control. You want to keep it's. Listen, God is a healing God. If you surrender to Him and you give it to Him, He will heal you. He will, but it's going to take time, and it's going to take work, and it's going to take snots and crying and having to take your lashes off and all that stuff. But it's okay. God knew exactly where you were at when you're at, because He knows exactly who you are. Here's some stats and facts. According to the Gottman Institute, 69% of relationship conflicts never fully resolve, but can be managed successfully when couples shift from resentment to acceptance. A 2023 study in the Journal of Marriage and Family showed couples who intentionally practice forgiveness and spiritual discipline reports greater satisfaction even after a long term of resentment. It's work. If you put the work in, you'll see what's on the other side. But if you give up, you'll never know. Coach Lynette?
I like the part where it said intentionally practice forgiveness and spiritual disciplines.
Intention.
It's an intentional thing to practice forgiveness, not to just forgive and still hold on and be
Mhm.
resentful, not to just say the words, but to actually forgive in your
Mhm.
heart. Some people say you can forgive, but you don't have to forget. But why hold on to it, right? Why hold on to it? Just let it go. If you decide to move on from a relationship, I'm not speaking about marriages, still forgive the person and know that maybe the season is up. You gotta know. So here's a mindset shift. Starting over doesn't erase the past, it defines it. Resentment says, I can't forget. But renewal says, I choose to move forward with God's help. With God's help. With God's help. It's not about pretending that it didn't happen, but believing love can grow in the same soil where pain lived. And that's something that I struggled with for a long time. How can I grow in a place that hurt me? How can I grow with a person that hurt me? But as you mature, and you know, I believe most people that are listening go to church and some may not, right? A lot of people grow up and they say they have church hurt, but they receive the same hurt in their place of employment, in their place of education, but they let those people go, but we can't let the church people go. So wherever you are, heal and choose to forgive. Love, love. You may not like everybody, but you are commanded to love everyone. Even your spouse that got on your last nerve that you've been disconnected with, that you haven't forgiven, that you're holding on to resentment with. Ask the Lord to help you to relieve that. As we've said before, how the stress and unforgiveness and bitterness can sit in your body and cause different things. We want you to be healthy, wealthy, and wise, transformed from bitterness into beauty. But you can't do that if you're still holding on to the past, if you're still holding on to anger, resentment, and bitterness. Let it go. Let it go. And you can grow where the pain was living in the same soil. You can still grow. Because guess what? I don't have a green thumb, but I'm learning. If you start digging up in that soil and you find a seed and you sit that seed in water for a little bit till it sprouts something and you put it back in the dirt, guess what? It's going to grow.
Yes.
It's going to grow.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to grow. Sometimes it's that process that people don't like. Sometimes it's that renewal that people don't like. But if you go through it, if God promised it, and you stand the test and you go through it, watch what's going to happen on the other side. Watch what's going to happen. It may be painful throughout the process. It may hurt. You may feel very vulnerable. You may throw adult tantrums. But if you allow God to heal it, go through it. Go through it. Don't try to suppress it. Go through it. But watch God. Go try me.
He can do it. God can do all things. All things are possible with Him. All things are possible with Him. I probably couldn't say this 3 years ago around this exact time. All things are possible with Him. The hurt and the pain was so great. And I don't believe that I can say all things. I couldn't say it back then, but I'm saying it now. All things are possible with Him. As we close this season, I don't want to give you a cute ending because it's not cute all the time. I want to give you the truth. God doesn't just patch things up. He restores them. He renews them. He rebuilds them. What we thought was too far gone. And I'm not saying that from theory. I'm saying that as a woman who has sat in disappointment, who has wrestled with resentment, who has had to confront her own wounds before she can ask someone else to confront theirs, my husband. God really can make all things new. Not recycled, not covered up, not let's just move on and pretend. New in heart, new in perspective, new in spirit. If your marriage feels tired, he can breathe on it. If your family feels fractured, he can mend it. If your faith feels shaky, he can anchor it. But renewal requires surrender. It requires stillness. It requires honesty. It requires saying, Lord, search me first. I had to say, Lord, show me me. Restoration is not about going back to what was. It's about becoming what God always intended. So as we end the season, I want you to hear me clearly. Don't let resentment have the final word. Don't let fear be louder than faith. And don't count out what God is still writing. The same God who resurrected dead things can resurrect love, trust, and hope. And if he did it in me, if he did it in us, he can do it in you. This isn't the end. It's renewal. Coach Lynette?
And sis, if you're ready to move from resentment to renewal, take it one step at a time. Healing is a journey, and so is wholeness. But you don't have to walk it alone. If today's episode resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this episode, subscribe wherever you're listening, and leave us a comment or a review. Share how God is moving in your life even through these episodes.
You can send an email to hello@bittertobeautiful.com, and we will respond with detailed information about what's next.
Until next time, stay bold.
Stay blessed.
And never forget,
God doesn't want you bitter.
He wants you beautiful.
Woo! We hope you enjoyed this powerful conversation. Remember, your story doesn't end in bitterness.
Because with God, you can always rise, heal, and become beautifully whole.
Want more? Visit bittertobeautiful.com to subscribe
and connect with us on YouTube and social media for live talks and behind-the-scene moments.
Until next time, stay beautiful,
stay bold, and stay blessed.